So once I'd insulated the van and got all the boards back in, I started to create the bed frames. I'd seen this method that other people had used, the slats, and it was just constructed out of simple 2x1 pine that you can get from any wood merchants. And then once I'd got the basic frames for the beds, and then also I made the cooker unit, or the unit to hold the hob, and I used thin ply to clad the sides. At the time here, this was just temporary. I put the tops in as thin ply as well, and I just used the ply to strengthen the structure at this point. So there we go. It was all basic woodwork, no clever joints, and it's still in one piece. Right, so let's talk about windows. Initially I didn't want any windows because I wanted to be really stealth, but then because I needed at least one for the DVLA to re-register it as a motorhome, I purchased one window and then had the nerve-wracking experience of cutting a hole into the side of my van. So basically I measured and I measured and I measured and measured until I was perfectly happy about the position of it, and I'd sat in the van behind where I thought the window would be, and I'd been out of the van looking at where it would be and measuring. Any way you can think of, I was measuring to check it was going to be in the right place, and it was, so that was good. So I cut the hole in and I put the window in, and it all went really quite smoothly. And here's the first window, and I actually really liked the light and the visibility that came to the van with this window, because even though it was only small, plenty of light came in and you could see quite well out of the van from the seating areas. So I decided I'd go for another window on the opposite side of the van as well. So here's some pictures of the second window. I started to think about the internal structure, and I basically used 2x1 pine strips and 4mm plywood, and everything was just put together with screws really. I think I used a little bit of glue in places, and I came up with this basic structure. I used, I think, 1/2 inch ply for the walls of the bathroom compartment, and I constructed these very simple yet TARDIS-like doors for the toilet, and also around the same time I got some worktop, an offcut of worktop for the hob and sink area. And so yeah, really I had like a cupboard in the van which was going to become the bathroom at some point. And to the left of that I had a space for a lower cupboard and an upper cupboard, and I designed this area in the middle to fit a fridge, and it was designed to fit exactly the right measurements for the fridge that I'd had my mind on. So then wall covering became a thought, and from Rick Van Man's channel he showed how to sort of use a leatherette material and wadding to make a padded sort of upholstered look. And so I got these very thin MDF pieces that were cut to I think 30 centimeters wide, and used them to create panels, and then I covered the panels in the leatherette and the padding, and this is the effect that developed. Around the same time as well, I actually bought some foam, a couple of foam pieces for the thickness I thought I'd need, and just to see, because there was a couple of options of the foam. You can go for the medium or the firm, and so I went for the firm, and I just wanted to see how firm it was. So around the same time as well, I started to think about overhead lockers, and with some scrap pieces of wood I created these ends and shaped them and sanded them and put the cross pieces on with basically 2x1 pine, and created the start of what would be the overhead cupboards. So I then started to think about colours, and because the van was blue, I went with a blue paint that was close to the actual colour of the van. And this then made the toilet look even more like a TARDIS. And to add to that, I cut out these top panels to allow light in to the toilet area. I was going to put some perspex on there. So, and here you can see more padding on the other side of the van, and then I used a big padded panel on the end of the bathroom. So there we go, and I just used these on as end panels really for units. You can see I used some more padding here on the edge of the cooker unit, and I'd put the gas in at this point as well. And started to make some doors. And here you can see as well, I made a door for the cupboard above the fridge and a door for the cupboard below the fridge. And then again, end panels here for the overhead locker, and I used leatherette for the doors. So, and also at this point I started to add some ceiling panels that were also covered in leatherette. So I really used leatherette very extensively, but I actually liked the look of it. I still like the look of it.